Hope this don't mess it up.
Is on. This might be better. Islam, Islam. Mhm. Let's do turn my camera on. Let's begin with the More Shamaraga prayer. Two fingers on the right, five on the left. Face the east. Repeat after me. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, True Ali. Amen. I have a reading of the Divine Constitution of Laws. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution of Laws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assisting Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed properly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is the holy day of rest because on Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and descended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. We are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted into 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era and time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Scientific America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Scientific America. Then you are entitled to the name faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of all humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies pure, clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Allah, Father universe, Father love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drali. Amen. Or Science Simple America, Home Office, Noble Drali, Chicago, Illinois, U.S.A. Islam. Islam, brother Solo, can you hear me? Islam, up. See, we live right now. Hope I can be heard. Check the demo. Um, Islam. Islam family. Uh, happy holy day. Happy holy day. First, arise and I give humble praise to Allah, Father the universe, sustainer of all creation, cause, root, root. Arise and I give humble honors to all the prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. Arise and give humble honors, Prophet Noble Drabi, the one sent to us on this shores to give us our nationality and our divine creed. I rise and I give honors to Marcus Jose Garvey, forerunner for the prophet. I rise, I give honors to the Moorish Science of America, to the first appointed Supreme Grand Chief, Edward Media, to the second, or basically to the current key dangers of the partners of rise and give honors teaching of what is Islam. For those who might be tuning in, we're not going to labor the Moors all night. It is close to Ramadan. I believe Ramadan starts on the 12th, which is Monday, our time. It is now more of an acceptance. First, I want to say this though, before I continue on, I want to actually say, give a condolence to anybody who watched this who may have any close ties or may be related to Earl Simmons, better known as DMX. We want to definitely send our prayers to the family and anyone in love, who knows, who's just a fan of the brother. We want to just send our condolence. I do want to touch on and just let people know that I know we're in the midst of the vaccination and the COVID and a whole bunch of stuff going on. Please, when you share information, make sure you fact check. I am guilty of many a times of sometimes just quickly clicking stuff and sharing it just to provoke thought. And that sometimes can backfire because if it's definitely not the right information and it's not a credible source, it makes you feel what makes you appear to be deceptive and uncredible. You're saying you're not credible. The credit can't necessarily get to what you're putting. So therefore, anytime you're trying to share something to waken people up, a lot of people will no longer she messed up at the stores. A lot of people are not going to listen to you when you begin to put up a lot of too much nonsense. It happened even during 2020. A lot of the commanding information and stuff that was just a lot of distorted Photoshop stuff and people giving Trump a little too much credit than what he deserved. And it causes a lot of confusion. And someone say, oh, well, he's, with the immigrants and at least helping out with, child trafficking. And, I was like, honestly, sometimes I only can go off experience. Or sometimes I can only go off experience. And during his administration, during this man's administration, a friend of mine who I grew up with, who's Jamaican, almost got deported for marijuana violation that he had when he was like 19. 19. Yeah. And it was like, was it 19 or 20? I think it was like 19 or 20. But still, he didn't go to jail. He beat it. I mean, he didn't beat it, but he got his he served as he got community service. He served his community service. He paid his debt to society. But I still snatched him up in front of his mom, traumatized his kids, thanks to Trump. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we have to be, we can't just go off a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to really be sure that these things are unfolding the right way. Make sure you double fact check. Why am I saying that? Because I posted a video with Risa Islam, uh, but there is things are going on in this time. There's a video, not video, but there's an article circulating saying that DMX took the COVID vaccination and he ended up having a heart attack because we have, and it said the article really was like, and I read the articles from NTO. It's like, I think the one I read is from NTO. It's like um, a gossip news thing for hip hop. And the guy said, "Oh well, whoever's a reporter said that they talked to the family and stuff like that. Who? What family members did you talk to? You understand? That can be very deceiving and it can defeat the purpose of people like Reza and others who are standing up against the vaccination and voicing and bringing facts and medical facts and scientific facts to, you know what I'm saying, to help us and help us maintain and sustain the right to have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Have a right to actually voice something and say, oh, well, don't trust it. But if we come up with these bogus stories, we look no better than Fauci and Gates. You know what I'm saying? When you fight and you're trying to do the right thing, you have to stay on the right course. You can't necessarily stray and start doing what the enemy's doing. Then it's not done in the right manner. You know what I'm saying? Backfire. Especially when you're dealing with these particular people out, because they control the media. Their pockets are way more deep. They can toss a few, you know what I'm saying, a few racks somebody's way and just like, yo, report this. And unlike us, you know what I'm saying, their media expands globally. You know what I mean? Islam. So please, Moorish Americans, be careful. Anybody sympathizers, listeners, whoever, be careful what you post. Especially dealing with this brother, you know what I'm saying, DMX, you know what I'm saying. We want to not offend the family, offend, you know what I'm saying, people that love him. You know what I mean? Like, he deserves a lot more respect than people clout chasing or pushing an agenda. You know what I'm saying? They already highlighting other stuff that he did when he was, how many houses he lost or whatever. Like, so, like, come on, man. How many? Like, he ain't the first celebrity. He won't be the last celebrity to lose houses and homes due to money mismanagement or habits and stuff like that. Come on, this is the entertainment business. Period. Like a lot of them end up losing a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You usually get jerked by management. There's certain news like New York Post and people just, you know what I mean? So try to stay away from that. But I digress. I want to get back into our point of discussion is on Ramadan. Ramadan is essential month, and it's important to the Muslim world. It's because of this month is the reason why we have gotten the introduction or the inception of what we know as Islam um, in this era, uh, brought forth uh, by Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Um, it is in this month the revelation came down, and revealed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to uh, teach his people that there was only one God. Because at that time they were worshiping several deities, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to, or his desire was to find the purity, the truth. Esoterically, it means that he wanted to break through fluid illusion, because falsehood deals with many. Truth is one. Islam, truth is but one. That's key. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. It's the highest. It's the absolute. And the most esoteric metaphysicals, they talk about the absolute, the absolute. That's what they're speaking. Absolute. The one point. When you watch Phil Valentine, I think one of Phil Valentine's best lecture, in my opinion, was the Book of the Earth Part 1. The Book of the Earth Part 1 dealt with the pi point in the one, focusing on the pi point. And he articulated what most esoteric teachings deal with is the one. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was actually dealing with bringing his people back to the true worship of one, the Abrahamic faith. Right? The problem of today, I think, our gods have materialized in our desires and passions. As Moorish Americans, it's not known, it has not been known, or it hasn't been made known, or nor is it documented at the time of Prophet Ali did the Moorish Americans practice Ramadan. Did they partake in Ramadan, or did they partake in a lot of other known Islamic practices? Okay. I don't want to say customs, I want to say practice, because there's certain things are customs and there's certain things are practice. And I think this month we're going to go over what is practice, what is a practice, and what is a custom. Okay. A custom, just a brief thing, a custom is embedded within a culture or something. Practice or rule or law or something like when we say it is prescribed, it's obligatory. When something is prescribed to you, it's obligatory. So as a practice within that religion, it's a ritual within that religion, you have to do it if you're going to practice that religion. In a sense. And of course, there's rules with fasting. There's rules, and stuff like that. We'll go over that tonight. Islam. So, the Moorish American, the leadership that succeeded after the Prophet's passing didn't necessarily fortify or bring any instruction of practicing this particular ritual or practice or law or fasting. Brother Emilio, the Springer and Sheik, first appointed, the only appointed by the Prophet, actually brought a dietary, telling us, restricting us from majority meat and only confining us to fish consumption, fruits and vegetables and fish consumption. So we're like more pescatarian, or I don't know what you call some fish. I guess that's pescatarian. But that was his, we say that was his fatwa. That was like the Moorish American fatwa, besides changing changing the demonstration, the convention from October to September. Um, so what we have in the midst of everything, making sure what we have is we have an idea that we missed out on certain things. We missed out on certain things, and because we missed out on certain things, you know, um, is most likely a grace period for the Moorish American in practice around. What I mean by that, it might not be as compulsory, or not compulsory, I would say, as obligated, because we're not in particular realms of instruction. Many Moorish Americans don't even know how to make salah. A lot of them, don't even, a lot of other things. You know what I'm saying? Moorish Americans don't do what our brothers and sisters in the greater Ummah do, and that's because it was not brought unto us, that particular message. Many, because of the conflicts and the confusion, a lot of people, Moorish Americans, never picked up the Quran, the actual holy book within within Islam. So that's also, something to take into consideration. Prophet brought us the principles of Islam. He wanted to give us the key principles, the ideas, the concepts first, before, in the hidden meanings, before we take on these particular practices, because one can lose themselves and lose the meaning. And when you lose the meaning and you practice, you kind of, the benefits are not really there as much, because you're not really in tune with what you're doing. You're just doing what you're doing. It becomes dogmatic. And I believe the Prophet actually wanted to steer away from a dogmatic idea and keep us in a mystic form where we were in tune with, you know, with higher things and understanding, and not necessarily caught into, uh, the practices and making it dogmatic, like, oh, you didn't do this, so you're, or you didn't do this, so you're, because he was just basically, he was practical. Making meetings, pay dues, because at the end of the day, we're trying to make, we're trying to offset this system. We're trying to make our people, elevate our people economically in the situation that they're in. They don't need dog Islam. They need science. They need right thinking to get them where they need to be. So Islam. So let's begin with this book here. This is the fiqh of fasting in the month of Ramadan. Actually, let's start with the more short proper. Then we'll start with the words of the prophet. Let's start with chapter 15. And this is divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes, returns to the camps of John, and begins teaching. Okay, so we know verse 1, the harbinger had paid away. The logos have been introduced to men as love made manifest. And he must now begin his divine ministry. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note its strength and worthiness. And with himself he talked. He said, "My lower self is strong, but many ties I am bound down to carnal life. Have I the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice for men? When I shall stand before the face of men and they demand a proof of my messiahship, what will I say?" Okay. So this is very interesting. This is very interesting because when Jesus goes into the wilderness, and this is a play of the Bible story as well, he is fasting for 40 days, 40 nights. He is shown that he actually is examining himself. This is why I like this. You know what I'm saying? Because in the Bible, it kind of makes, Jesus like unstoppable. He's just, he's perfect. There's nothing wrong. But here it's saying that he's doubting himself. Will I be able to make it or be the willing sacrifice? He says, my lower self is strong, right? But I'm bound by many, but I'm bound down, but I'm tied down. Pardon, so no, I'm bound. I'm bound down to carnal life. Oh, by many ties I am bound down to carnal life. So I have many ties to this carnal life. Islam. So think about yourself. Ramadan's approaching. Ramadan's a month of introspection. Ramadan's a month of not just fasting, the food part, but it's also looking within. You know what I'm saying? And really examining where you are spiritually and soul for soul. Just like Jesus did a self-examination of himself, man, us, we need to do an examination of ourselves. How are you bound down to this carnal life? Emotionally, mentally, passions? Is it food? Is it sex? Is it money? Is it regret? Is it revenge? Is it loneliness? What keeps us in tune more so to our flesh in the material carnal world than it is to Allah? That's the point where we begin to examine ourselves, just like Jesus. This ties into Ramadan. This is the reason why Muhammad went into the went into the cave. Period. Now remember that Ramadan wasn't the only time. Like Muhammad told us we've been doing this. He'd been going away fasting and meditating and supplicating himself. See, people feel like the story that a lot of popular Muslims do, they'll they paint a picture like Muhammad just one day woke up and said, go to the mountains. In fact, no, this has been an ongoing practice that he'd been doing. And when we do Ramadan, I'll be spanning on who Muhammad is, and what where he was actually, why he chose to fast, and where did he possibly learn certain things. It's very key that we learn this because Muhammad is our great leader, according to Prophet Ali. we need to study Muhammad and study who he is. You need to learn. I encourage Moorish Americans to get you a book, a hadith book. Study the hadith. Not saying you gotta study to know it. Go through it. Look for key things. See if you see some pattern. And we know a lot of hadiths are fabricated. Some of them have, been introduced later. All of them been introduced way after Muhammad's lesson passed from. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, it's like the oral statements of Prophet It's like, take it with a grain of salt sometimes. This is different. You know what I mean? They'll hear one say one thing and then say another, and then you be like, a lot of times people even got super high defers out there. Go out there, grab hadith. Like, oh, this is what it says. But if it doesn't line up with Quran, if it doesn't line up with like universal principles, it's a science. The Moorish American, we put it to science. If it doesn't apply to science, right thinking, what I'm saying, then it's useless. I wouldn't even wrestle it. You know what I mean? Certain things were done for a certain period of time. So we look at Jesus in this state, he's examining himself, doubting himself, which is fine. It's fine. It's because you have to play devil's advocate for yourself to really see whether you're for it. And then of course the tempter comes and he's able to beat the tempter or outthink the tempter or overcome. The tempter was in within him. What's within him? He was the tempter. The tempter was inside him. That was coming. His doubt, his pride, his ego. Those things were coming forth. So it was necessary for him to have an introspect. And once he overcame himself, he was able to rise in the state of the Holy Book. You know what I'm saying? Now listen, when he says by many times I'm bound the carnal, many times. So Jesus, brother Jesus, prophet Jesus, is by many times is bound to carnal life. What do you think me and you are about? Many times we bound to carnal life. Don't you think that me and you, or you and I, have the same, if not more times to this carnal life? Ain't nobody prophesied about our birth. Islam. I don't know how many of y'all going and out talking gurus and Brahmins and high priests and stuff like that. Like, not many of us. Islam. A lot of us are not. A lot of us are not even, even close or even within the range of actually talking to somebody from a high, a high level of spirituality. We put our feds on just yesterday. So if Jesus is tied by by many ties, he has many ties, and they're bound him to carnal life. He knows that it is necessary for him to take the time to look at himself, look within himself, to free himself. Islam. So Ramadan, it plays a part. You may not want to do it. Say if you might not be able to do this fat, food, and water. But you can do the introspect. You can pull back from things that tie you. You know what I'm saying? That that bound you to this karma. You can pull back from Islam. Look at so. Let's say because we know the fast begins at sunrise at dawn, right? So when dawn comes, you begin your fast. Prior to dawn, during the time of Fajr, even before Fajr, you eat a meal. The meal is called sahur. Your sahur meal, you're allowed to eat. I encourage you to um, drink enough water. Drink enough water before you start your fast. Um, the intention of the fast, of course, is to elevate, sustain those things that bound you to cardinal Islam. And then when you break your fast, it's best to break with something like fruit, course water, or dates. That's Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He used dates. Um, Smoothies, if you're doing the vegan thing and those type of things, that's awesome. You don't want to do that. I even encourage your sahur to be like, you know what I'm saying, to be not light, but like real healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because then those minerals will be circulating in your body because, you know, what the fast is like an intermittent fast, but it's a little longer. Intermittent fasting, I've been trying to do it. I've been waking up, no food, and I don't eat until like the afternoon. And I eat like between the hours of 1 and 6 possibly. And I don't eat like heavy meals. I don't pick up. I eat that one meal. That's it. The rest is liquids. And as I'm trying to really, and then I got this fasting juice, not fasting juice, but this purified juice that's supposed to get me going. Help me detox and all that. It's working. However, last time it didn't really work as much because I didn't shake it up each time. You gotta shake it up because the herbs settle at the bottom. But that's needless to say. But I encourage y'all to get something to help y'all purify before your fast. So you got like 3 days. Twice. So drink a lot of water, clean your system, whatever you know what I'm saying, really get your mind focused. Because those things are very important. Let's get into, it's 9:49. I don't want to close up, but let's get into, oh, I don't have the oral statements, but we do have Moorish literature for sale as Moorish Muslim. Mission 28, we do have literature. We print our own literature right now. We're going to be actually doing our own books. I got a book coming out. It's going to be called, I ain't going to tell you the title. It's on indigenous stuff, indigenous information. So look out for that. I'll post it when I'm done writing it. Just gather information from different books I got consolidating. Uh, um, controversy. Let me read a few things out of the Moorish literature. We're going to start with Islam. I'm not going to read all of it, but I want to hear out a few highlights. You read what is Islam? The article, what is Islam? Moorish literature says Islam is a very simple faith. It requires man to recognize his duties toward God Allah, right? His creator, and his fellow creatures. It teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surrounding. It is preeminently the religion of peace. Key thing when and mostly in the greater Ummah, we greet each other, Assalamu alaikum, in return, wa alaikum salam. Right? Peace be unto you. So, the Quran doesn't actually say Assalamu alaikum, but it says greet your brother in peace. It says greet them in peace. Being that Islam is predominantly the religion of peace, and Islam is actually means peace. Prophet Abu Ali kind of re-merged the concept. So when we utter Islam, it is a declaration not only of faith, but we are speaking peace onto each other. So we say Islam, peace, Islam. So in our minds, when we greet each other in Islam, saying Islam, and it's the word for peace, we are putting that back into perspective. Islam. Now, of course, when we greet outside of our Moorish American community, our brothers and sisters in the Ummah, we greet them assalamu alaikum out of respect, because that's the universal greeting in the greater Ummah. Within us, and we'll go over that. We're gonna go over that later, but with us it's not. But we'll talk a little more why we say Islam. Islam. So the very name Islam means peace. The goal of man's life, according to Islam, is peace with everything. Peace with Allah and peace with man. Okay? The Quran, the holy book of Islam, tells us that the final goal of man is in the house of peace, where no vain word or sinful discourse will be heard. The holy divine prophet says that a follower of Islam is a true sense of is one whose hands, tongue, and thoughts do not hurt others. Act 3, right? But the Quran is the holy book of it. Right? And it teaches us that the final goal is the house of peace. That we want to be, but our final goal is the house of peace. It's a mindset. It's a state of being. Peace with everything. We have to, this is what Ramadan is also. Because in Ramadan, you are encouraged to stay at peace. Some things that violate your, or nullify your fasting, or violate your fasting. Or violate and nullify means that you pretty much have to make it up. Messed up. You can't, this day don't count. You messed up. Basically, I say anybody who is familiar with Salat and the rules of Salat, it basically applies. That's what it basically take those rules from Salat, what will nullify your Salat or violate it or make it not count are the same rules that would violate and make your fasting in Ramadan not count. So, um, thinking thinking on pure thoughts, lying, all common stuff you can think of. Of course, eating and drinking, uh, bad intentions, because your intentions is what guides. It's a lot of guides to food fasting. Um, well, arguing, being bitter, holding grudges, intentionally making things difficult for other people because of a past situation. So you have to be aware of your intentions. Is what you're doing in line with, fasting and the tenets of holding the fast? Because then you violate. Are you? So me, me, Islam. I'm on the Facebook like chopping it up with these Moors. The fake, quasi sovereign Moors. I'm in their grill like all the time. Like what now? You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Islam. This is the way I get down. And, but I have been better. I backed off. I seen plenty of posts that I got tempted to jump in, but I gotta be. So with me, it'll probably be best I stay off social media. Same thing with someone else. If you find yourself that social media and internet is an issue for you, then you should be on it less than because you don't want to see something or do something that will nullify your your salah. I mean, that's a lot. Your fast. So parts of your fast. So you want to stay in tune. You want to stay in tune. So probably only time you probably see me on there is advertising for promoting the meetings and stuff. So I'm trying not to be on social media. Coming Monday. So if you want to get in contact with me, just inbox me and I'll try to answer. The next one we're going to read is Moorish leaders' historical message to America. Um, in connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Scientific America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of an organization covering the inception, rise, and progress of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you all at all times to adhere to the principles of virtue, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. So, in the aspect the Prophet was teaching us to practice the Mohammedan religion, that was a term used to describe those, just like someone called Christian after Christ, Muhammad, they would use the word Mohammedan to describe those who practice Islam. It'd be the Mohammedan religion. It's interchangeable. So you can read in the Moorish leader's message. He begins to talk about the Mohammedan religion and talks about the contributions of Islam. Let's see. I'm trying to get to the point. Um, history defined. Here we go. So you'll understand pretty much how much the prophet of Muhammad points to Islam, points to the religion of Islam and Prophet Muhammad. Okay, history defined. History may be defined in a general way as the record of life of mankind. It is the rise and progress of those famous people whose doings constitute the history of civilization. In this, the proper and highest science history presupposes the nations of the world advance beyond the natural or primitive state into the primitive state. Into these belong our great leader, Muhammad, directed by our Father God. Okay? So what he's saying is that the revelation that was brought down to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that energized and helped prepare and propel mankind out of a primitive state. He was basically talking about how, mankind at one time, saying was in a a dark, dark time, especially after the fall of Rome. And when Islam came, it kind of resurged because Kemet had fell. But those who were occupying Kemet, Byzantine, Roman Empire, they didn't excel civilization. They kind of maintained a hold. It wasn't progressing. They didn't know the sciences. And anything that seemed on the lines of what Egyptians were professing or whatever was considered heresy. Socrates and Plato, they didn't thrive. And their teachings didn't thrive at the time. It's only those later that found their teachings actually saved it and began to pushing it forward, so forth and so on. But at the time of Rome, they didn't listen. There was nothing progressive. So only thing, they were more military, fight, conquer, so forth and so on. When they fell, Islam actually rose up and basically propelled civilization into a new era. Matter of fact, that era is what basically we're thriving off of secretly because the Moors preserved a lot of information from the past. Some people talk about, how BC switches over, how BC switches over to AD. To me, it should go up to time. That is the Muhammad calendar starts with Muhammad. And yeah, I kind of agree in that side. Even more, the rise of the Moors. The Moors were on the scene. That was more like, okay, this is the new era. This is the new time because this is where all the sciences begin to put forth, and it becomes to form into a systematic uh, system in a society where these things are being utilized. And man, woman, and child are being progressed in their thinking. You know what I mean? And we pretty much are catering off of that to universities and different, academic disciplines. So yeah, I would say I would, be, take BC and AD as markers of time. I'd be like, well, you might want to move AD up, or, to my opinion. But, so so when they say great leader Muhammad, so we have to say our great leader Muhammad, Prophet Noor Ali. These are the words of the prophet. He's telling Muhammad is a great leader. So Ramadan, you know, being the month that he received the revelation, it'd be wise for us to take heed to the principles of that month. Like I said, we didn't, if your first introduction into Islam is from the temple or the more science of America, it's understandable. Everybody understands, but the principles of self-retrospect, refraining from those things that that will separate you or tie you down to more of a cardinal. Those things we want to kind of keep in mind going on and work on. So, we'll go to the next article. More Science of America is the next article. More Science of America was founded by Prophet Ali. Aside from the fact that it is a legally organized religious corporation that is building human needs to this desirable end, in time, legitimate means will be found to dispense charity and provide the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress, to aid in the improvement of health, and to encourage the ownership of better homes, to find employment for our members, to teach those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, such as obedience to law, respectability to government, tolerance, and unity. It is most earnestly hoped that the Borders of Science of America will not in any way be confused with any back to Africa. Oops. Yeah, okay. Yeah, any back to Africa movement. Such is not important insofar as an American citizen of our group colonizing Africa. So we of the War Science of America, like countless of American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race and creed may be. It is only from a purely religious standpoint, it seems at this time, that we differ from a large number of fellow Americans. We believe in and foster the Muslim religion. We believe in the principles of its teachings, and insofar they can be adopted to American life. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. In America, religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. Okay? Key thing, we believe in and foster the Muslim religion. So we have to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I think I'm going to stop right there with Prophet's words. He also goes and talks about the Quran. And he says that we believe in this. We believe it's the holy word. The holy word. We believe it's the real word of God. He talks about the Quran. So we have to hold that. So we look at the back of our questionnaire, and it says we derive power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad, which is key because it holds the foundation for us operating Islam. Surah 49, ayat 13. One tells why I separate me into many nations. You know what I'm saying? So that giving us the right to be a nation state, to exist as a society with our own principles, creeds, and those things. That's very important. That was revealed to Prophet Muhammad. that was revealed to him. So Ramadan, revealing of the Quran is very important. And the fact that if we uh, derive our power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad, then this month is important because without this month, we would not derive our power and authority from anything. But we wouldn't have anything to derive our power and authority from Islam. And so the problem, so we have to study. This is a good time to study the revelation, study the time of the revelation, the account of Prophet Muhammad when he got the revelation, before he got the revelation, the study of the life. This is the time to really brush up on Islamic things. You know what I'm saying? So more Americans have to become a little more astute and sharper in their understanding of Islam. Especially in this in this era, we're surrounded by Muslims. They're coming in all the time. And a lot of them are our brothers and sisters who are Asiatic. They are inquiring about our, you know, well, who are we up? Who are we? What do we believe in? Some of them want to take nationality cards because they know the need. They have the religion. They have the nationality. So we gotta be sharp. We have to know where they are, because they might have questions. Why do you do this? Why do you pray like this too? Why don't y'all do? You know what I'm saying? We gotta know, we gotta stand, and then we have to weigh it. What traditions that were handed down, by the elders, if it was consistent with the prophet, or did some things they missed out. What are we supposed to be doing? You know what I'm saying? Is it okay? Back in the day, I know not too long ago, if you would have mixed a lot in certain temples, you would get, where you say you went to Juma, they look at you like you got a problem. But I think that we at a time of error, man. We can't ignore or deny the existence of our brothers and sisters in the great world. We have to be a lot more astute in Islam and in the knowledge. So Ramadan is a good place to really become more astute in Islam and the origin of Islam, as far as what was revealed to Muhammad Sallallahu. It's a good time to connect the dots. Um, let's see. All right, we'll wrap it up. We're going to talk about the tenets, certain things. It's the book of fasting. So you want to actually begin to, when you do your fast, and during the Ramadan, it's good to give charity. So if you can't fast, if you have like blood problems, iron problems, and those other things, it's understood. Those things are excused. You know what I'm saying? Those things are definitely excused. Especially if you're real old, if you're nursing, pregnant, if you're underage, it's definitely you're definitely excused from the physical facts. Excused from the physical. Like I said, but Morris Americas, we don't do compulsory. We don't really, because like I said, our knowledge of particular things are not really astute, because of coming into this, elders didn't hold or didn't necessarily investigate that particular information of Islam. It's just Some of them really thought the prophet was bringing them something totally different. Like we were totally different, a total different religion. It's like, oh, he just failed to merge the two. Uh, Chapter 1 of this book, Introductory Matters Concerning Fasting, comprises of a number of issues. First issue, the definition of fasting and clarification of its pillars. Okay. Its definition is siyam in the Arabic language is to refrain from something. In the Sharia law, it means to refrain from food, drink, and anything that breaks the fast, with the intention from the appearance of the true Fajr until the setting of the sun. Its pillars from the religious definition of Siyam, it is clear that it has two essential pillars, which are refraining from anything that breaks fast, from the appearance of Fajr until the setting of the sun. Proof for this pillar is the saying of Allah. So now have sexual relations with them and seek that with Allah has ordained for you, and speak and eat and drink until the white red light of dawn appears to you, distinct from the black thread. Then complete your fast to the nightfall. The meaning of the white thread and the black thread is the whiteness of the day and the darkness of the night. So, of course, fast, start seeing the light, being fast. When you start seeing it getting dark, you can break it. Basically, the light comes around 6 o'clock, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. Okay, so you start your fast then. It starts to get dark like around 6:37. The intention, the fast, this is through two. You want to think about your intention. The fasting person refrains from anything that breaks the fast with the intention that this is worship for Allah, mighty and majestic. Through the intention, actions that are performed as worship are differentiated from the actions. Similarly, the intention, acts of worship are distinguished from one another. So the fasting person intends by his fast either the fast of Ramadan or other than it from the various types of fast. The proof of the pillar is this. This is saying actions are judged according to the intentions, and every person will receive the attendance. The second ruling of fasting Ramadan is proof of this is Allah the Mighty and Majestic made it compulsory to fast the month. And he made it one of the five pillars. So, Surah 183. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those before you, that you may become righteous. And he says also in Baqarah 1, Surah Baqarah, ayat 185, the month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for mankind, and a clear proofs for the guidance of the criterion between right and wrong. So, whoever of you cites the person on the first night of the month of Ramadan, he might fast that month. So when you begin your fast, the month is when the new moon is sighted. There's different websites and apps where there's communication with those who know how to sight the new moon. When you sight the new moon, that's the day you begin your fast. Basically, when the moon is sighted, then that means the morning you begin your fast. So that night, you see the new moon. The morning, you begin your fast. Islam. So Ramadan, as you can see it in Surah Baqarah 183, 185, it is prescribed to us to participate in this fast, participate in this introspection. Islam. And I want to give it like that because I know that, many of us, we have particular variations of understanding. And so, but for the most part, take the principle of introspect and look at yourself and look at your intentions. Your intentions is must be made. Intentions is everything. It's everything. What does that Quran say? About sin. It's not the action or the thought, it's the desire. It's your intention. If you want to do it, that's something you intend to do. It's the same. You already have the intentions in you to do it, right? Because it's coming from your heart. That's where the intentions coming from the heart. So if your intentions is to do that, then that's where you need to really realize and shape. You know, what are you doing it for? I'm saying, what are you fasting for? You know, some people just do it to say, "Hey, I'm fasting with the rest of the Muslims." That's cool, but that's not the good intentions. You're not getting the benefit. Not getting the benefit. Some people do it to lose weight. Me, I did it. One or two Ramadan. So, I hope I lose weight. Barely lost weight. I'm not focused on that. Definitely now, I am more focused on adhering to it. You know, reading the Quran during the month of Ramadan uh, it is it's not required, but it is suggested that you read the complete Quran. So I suggest most Americans, especially in the Muslim Mission 28, if you don't have a Holy Quran, you go buy yourself a Holy Quran and you read your Holy Quran. Not not this, not the Holy Quran, more Science of America. Even though you should read that as well, but you get yourself a Quran, the Revelation, and you begin to read it to understand it. Prophet Ali held the Quran, this Quran up, and Quran of Mecca. He hold them both up in both hands in a added meeting in the first convention. Uh, I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I got the minutes. We'll discuss that too. So probably during the month, probably during the day if it will do a quick meeting for the Night of Power when the Quran was actually there, inshallah. So I don't think a lot of people were here. So we're gonna actually move the close, inshallah. Um, Just start. Let's end it with with the warnings, readings. Y'all gotta excuse me because I knew this is an unofficial. Just let me announce this. These are unofficial. These are not unofficial. The official copies you can get strictly from my grandbody. They have it with the actual binding paperback. to actual binding paperback. So you can get those. I'll find out how you can get those. I used to this one here. Here we go. Praise God. All right. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, left. This is the holy divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is the everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. To be reclaimed at every meeting. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and I'm real. But now, since they have found out that the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation, as American citizens, they are at work. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify, so that they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is to the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance. I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through here jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drali. To the members of the Moorish Scientific America, Islam is a destruction from your prophet, Noble Drali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet. I, Noble Drali, And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear. At least they will be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear mortals. Every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine national your divine national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet. No, I bid y'all adieu. Have a safe weekend. Inshallah, we will meet back on Sunday for Sunday school. And please take heed. Ramadan is approaching. If any questions, inbox me. We'll be talking. Remember, we'll definitely be building more on what Ramadan is and so forth. So, peace. This.